It's an intriguing part of Montana history.
Everybody'd find an interest here, one way or another.
Old West history comes alive in Deer Lodge, Montana, in a group of museums dedicated to preserving the region's rich heritage. The largest of these museums has been converted from the original Montana prison, which was established in 1871.
This prison was built 5 years before Custer died at the Little Bighorn. Ulysses S. Grant was in his first couple of years as President of the United States when this prison opened up.
It served a very important purpose because of the fact that during the 1860s and early 1870s, there were a lot of problems with crimes and lack of law enforcement in the territory of Montana. The nearest jail was in Walla Walla, and during the 1860s or 1870s, you weren't about to get on a horse with a criminal and go across country, because that was just as dangerous as dealing with them.
The prison was in operation until 1979, serving Montana for 108 years and housing more than 28,000 inmates.
This was not just a male institution. Female inmates were housed here as well. The first female inmate was brought here in December of 1878. And they had no individual area for female inmates. So she was housed in the attic of the federal building, which also was the cell block, not only administrative, but the cell block as well. They housed her in the attic with the teenage boys because they had no other place to put her.
In 1907, a women's prison was established just outside the main prison walls. Inside the walls was the only prison theater in the United States.
Anybody could come and go to anything that was being performed in that theater. So you had civilian staff, inmates, and inmate family all sitting together watching a play or a boxing match or whatever was going on.
One of the prison's most unique inmates was Turkey Pete. Convicted of murder and sentenced to life, Pete became a model prisoner and was put in charge of the prison turkey flock. Eventually, Pete lost touch with reality. He sold the turkey flock to a passerby for 25 cents a bird. After that, he believed he was an entrepreneur. The staff humored his mental condition, allowing him to believe that he had purchased the prison and was now operating it from his cell.
I personally remember him lining up here and going down into the mess hall, and he led the whole line. And he'd go and sit down. He didn't go through, picking up the trays and that. Inmates behind him did that and gave it to him. And that's just one of 100 stories about the old guy.
In 1979, after 108 years of operation, the old prison buildings were showing their age.
We were still basically operating out of the same buildings that were established here at the turn of the century. The wall was built in the 1890s. This cell house that we're in right now was built in 1912. There was no hot running water to these cells at all, just cold water. The towers that the officers were on for most of the years had no toilets. They used buckets. And that basically was what our operation was until 1979 when we left here. At the same time, I was president of the local museum, the Powell County Museum and Arts Foundation. We were basically the only organization around the area that had an interest in it.
The prison was moved to a new facility nearby. The prison museum was established almost immediately after the old buildings were vacated, thanks to grant money, community volunteers, and a movie.
And very fortunately, we had some interest in a company making a movie here in 1980 and 81. And as a result of that, they put several $100,000 of work into the cell house.
The movie went almost unnoticed when it was released in 1982. It was called Fast Walking.
It wasn't a very successful movie. It wasn't successful for them, but it was definitely successful for the museum here.
The result is a museum complex which caters to a wide variety of interests. The Prison Museum provides fascinating, sometimes unsettling insights into prison life during most of the last century. But the prison is only the first stop. Next is the Montana Auto Museum.
The theme of the Auto Museum would be the progression of vehicles through the years. We do have some early 1900s and all the way up to the late 1970s, mid to late 1970s. So as you go from room to room, we try to put them in chronological order as much as possible so you can see how things change over the years.
Across the street from the prison, the Frontier, Montana Museum houses the largest collection of historic weapons between Cody, Wyoming and Calgary. There's also a collection of cowboy and Civil War memorabilia.
Yesterday's Playthings is an antique and toy museum. Originally it started off as a private collection, a woman who had several dolls she wanted to display. And what it has turned into is other items, not just dolls, but there are antique dolls and model trains, model cars, pedal cars.
Frontier, Montana also features Desert John's Saloon Museum. You can't really get a drink here, but you can drink in a large display of whiskey bottles and memorabilia. With its multiple collections and displays, visitors to the old prison museum complex had better plan on doing some serious time.
This is an integral part of the history of Deer Lodge, let alone Southwest Montana. And these museums are a beautiful reminder of that, not just with the content, but its physical presence.
If you have an idea for Northwest Profiles, send it to KSPS TV, 3911 South Regal, Spokane, Washington 99223. Northwest Profiles is a presentation of KSPS Public Television.